welcome back to Gut Health Week. I'm Dr. B, the Gut Health MD. I've been doing this in collaboration with the bad Yogi, and today we are going to talk about probiotics. So we previously talked about the role that your diet plays in your microbiome. We talked about prebiotics, and if you haven't seen those videos, I would encourage you to go back and check them out. But today I want to talk to you about probiotics, and so probiotics are referring to live microorganisms that have been demonstrated in study to have a health benefit. So the key is they have to be alive. This could be bacteria, could be fungi, but they also need to have study that demonstrates a health benefit. It can't just be any old bacteria that they culture from wherever. And so these probiotics can be found in many different forms. Fermented foods are where you take a natural food and you allow bacteria to transform that food. And in the process, the bacteria unlock health-promoting nutrients, for example, prebiotics or vitamins, or in some cases, new phytochemicals that are beneficial to you as the recipient. And so I brought with me a couple examples of fermented foods that you may find in your local grocery store. This is fermented sauerkraut, and so I actually made this myself. And all you have to do to make sauerkraut, it's incredibly elemental. It's just water, salt, and cabbage. And if you handle it properly, it transforms from salty cabbage into sauerkraut with that tartness and real complexity of flavor that I enjoy after about a week. So sauerkraut actually is interesting because it has about 700 different types of bacteria. Many of you have heard about kombucha. So kombucha is literally if you take sweet tea and you add bacteria to that sweet tea and you allow it to ferment, it will transform into kombucha. And I do think that there are benefits to consuming kombucha, but I also think that there's some hype that has gotten away from the science. And so I see people who are drinking large quantities on a daily basis, and I don't know that that's necessary. I do think that you can drink it on a daily basis, but I would be moderate in consumption. And what I would do is really use this as a gateway to explore new types of fermented foods. An example of that would be miso. And so miso is fermented soybeans. You've had miso soup before, and that's where this flavor comes from. And this is incredibly healthy stuff that's good for you. So now that we've talked about fermented foods, I now want to bring you to probiotics, probiotic supplements. And what we're talking about here are live microorganisms that are inside of a capsule of some variety, generally speaking. And the goal is that you are going to deliver these organisms, these microorganisms in live form to your distal parts of your intestines, such as your colon. And when they get there, they may have health benefits. And so some of the things that have been associated with probiotics, they definitely seem to help in terms of digestion. People may notice less gas and bloating with the food that they eat. They prime the immune system, seem to make the immune system work a little bit better. They do help in terms of the absorption of minerals and nutrients. And there are a number of studies that have been conducted on specific diseases or specific conditions where probiotics have shown benefit. So for example, probiotics are helpful for patients that have ulcerative colitis in a very, very high concentrated form. There is some benefit to patients that have irritable bowel syndrome, whether that is diarrhea predominant or constipation predominant. And there's also suggestion that probiotics are good with antibiotic-associated diarrhea or the prevention of infection after using antibiotics. So there are a number of different things, and at the end of the day, the question is, why are you using the probiotic? And it's something that you may want to discuss with your physician. The choice of which probiotic to use can be a little bit complicated. Generally speaking, we find that higher doses of probiotics and more different strains are the types of qualities that you want to try to find. But at the end of the day, you want a probiotic that has the specific types of bacteria at the right quantity that have been demonstrated in studies to actually have the effect that you're trying to achieve. And so with that in mind, I would offer as a suggestion one possibility, which is the Genuine Health probiotic. And so this probiotic I use as an example because it has 15 different strains of bacteria in a high quantity. These strains have each been selected for a specific reason to provide a certain health benefit. And those strains are put into a capsule that is a delayed release capsule, meaning it's designed to survive the acidity of your stomach and deliver the probiotics where they're supposed to go. Finally, they are in a blister pack, and so what that means is that they're protected from humidity and things of that variety. So these are all qualities that I like about these probiotics. And one thing that's interesting is this is a general probiotic, but they also have other types that were designed to treat specific conditions. For example, this was designed specifically to prevent urinary tract infection in women because of the specific types of probiotics that were selected for that type of probiotic, for that type of supplement. And so at the end of the day, I think that the best time to take probiotics is before you go to bed, because then you can actually have better delivery of the probiotic to your intestines. It's not best to take it with a meal, because that's when your stomach is very high in acid. So my challenge to you for this week is to select one fermented food and give it a try. So whether that's kombucha or fermented sauerkraut, miso, or something else, I would encourage you to go to your local grocery store and choose a fermented food and give it a try. And go ahead and follow me on Instagram at The Gut Health MD, and also follow the Bad Yogi at Bad Yogi Official.